Hey guys, how are you? Hope everyone's good and staying safe. I've got some ingredients out on the board here. We've got half of the broken chicken that I took down. We've got 1 white onion, some chopped ginger, some garlic, a chili, some green onion, some thyme, a little bit of shallot that I had left over. I've got some seasonings there, and I've got some allspice as well. Okay, so what are we making today, you're wondering, I suppose? So today we're gonna make jerk chicken. It's like a West Indian style dish, very delicious. I love it, grew up with it quite a lot in London. This one's for you, Chris. Onion in. I just use a chopping blade on a jug, easier that way. Green onions. Just chop everything down a little bit. It's about 1.5 chilies. Should be done with a Scotch bonnet, but we don't have any Scotch bonnet. We just got a bit of regular chili, which is fine. And Scotch bonnet is very, very spicy. Tablespoon of ginger. We need a lot of thyme. Classic flavors we're looking for is the green onion, thyme, and black pepper, okay? We're gonna add our garlic. Now we're gonna add a little bit of seasoning. It's important that we add a lot of black pepper, okay? It's gonna look like a lot, but this is where we're gonna get some of our flavor. Again, a decent amount of salt. While we do the salt on there, we're gonna salt the chicken. Decent amount on there as well. So I'm gonna go about 2 tablespoons of that. A lot of recipes call for soy sauce and vinegar. I'm gonna use a little of both, not a huge amount. This is a soy vinegar that I've got, okay? So this is basically a blend of the two. What the vinegar does is gonna help to tenderize the chicken a little bit. Like we had the turmeric to tenderize the chicken and the tandoori. This is gonna do the same thing, okay? And then we add a little bit of oil. So we want about 1/4 cup of oil, and we're gonna blend. There's the Hulk, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor's by the old kit and caboodle, if you know what I mean. Making sure he's looking after the hammer. So jerk marinade. Don't use all of it. Save a bit, pop it in the fridge. It's gonna last forever, yeah? You can do salmon with this, lamb, whatever you want. Pork chops is a good one, if you eat pork. We're not allowed to eat pork in this house, because I live with a porker. Look how much I'm putting on, guys, yeah? This is very, very important how much we put on, all right? We want to coat it really, really nicely. Remember our little flappy? Don't forget the flap, boys. Just like that. We're going to serve a little bit of gravy with this, all right? So we're going to save a little bit of marinade for the gravy, and then we're going to take some of the chicken stock, reduce the chicken stock, then add a little bit of this to cook out right at the end, and that's going to be our gravy. So we're making a base for a lot of different stuff, okay? While your eyes are watering, just take your chicken breast and everything and pop them in the box. Remember to use the airtight box if you've got one. Ziploc bag if you haven't is perfect. Just so that air doesn't get in. Lots of marinade in there. We want to drop a lot in there, okay? Don't be shy. Clipped. Good night. Jerk. Done. I'm going to put that in the fridge overnight. Enjoy it. What's up now? It's time for a bit of jerk chicken. So I've got a few things going on. I like jerk chicken. I treat it like my Sunday roast. For me, it's a nice celebration dinner. Takes me back to my days as a youngster. When I was in catering college, we used to go to a little cafe there and see someone called Grandma Pat. Used to make us a jerk chicken loaf, rice and peas, ackee and saltfish, all the good stuff. So I got my rice and peas, or rice and beans as it were. I got a chicken stock and I got my cast iron pan ready. So I've got my oven preset to 375, which is important. I'm gonna go on a nice high flame for the chicken. I'm gonna put quite a lot of oil in, but I'm looking to char it up a little bit like we did with the tandoori. So I'm just gonna let that oil heat up nicely. I'm gonna wait to do my gravy. So in England we have something called gravy. That's something we use for like a roast dinner. It's like basically just a meat sauce. So if we're having chicken, we'll make it with the chicken, cooking juices. Here I'm gonna make a gravy with some of the leftover marinade and some of the brown chicken stock that I showed you how to make, okay? Very easy, all right? So every recipe I'm giving you, I'm also giving you things to do with it, all right? That pan sounds nice and sizzling to me, so we'll start getting everything in, all right? Drumstick can go in. That's gonna go in as well. I've got this little bit of marinade left. I'm gonna add that to my gravy afterwards, all right? Nice bit of salt and pepper on there now. I like to keep this in the fridge, especially with jerk chicken, a little bit longer than the 24 hours. This has been going for about 48 hours now. If I was cooking this on the grill, I would have low coals and I would cook it for about 1.5 hours just on low coals. Try not to turn it over until it's ready to come off the pan. If you feel a bit of resistance, leave it be. When it's ready, it'll come off the pan naturally. So I'm gonna let that cook a little bit. I've turned the heat out and the residual heat is gonna allow us to finish cooking that chicken. Not to finish cooking it, but to finish getting a nice color on it. And then we're gonna give it about 8 to 10 minutes in the oven to cook the breast through nicely, and then we're good to go. So there's the chicken, nice bit of color on it, a nice char. In the oven he goes, in the middle, on the top, 8 minutes, all right guys? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that paste that we had earlier, left over from the chicken. I'm just going to cook it out very gently in the oil. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to add that to my stock, all right? It's helped me to cook it out, but it's also helped me to clean the pan and take any element from the pan that we might have that's going to give us a bit of flavour, okay? So we're going to add that to that. Make sure we've got everything. So I'm going to put that straight back into the pot. Okay, so my gravy's looking good now. When you start to see the bubbles are a good tell. Always have a spoon close by, especially when you're doing sauces, because if it coats the spoon, it's ready to go. We're going to add a little salt, a little pepper to the jus or the gravy. I'm just going to warm the chicken back through in the oven. I'm going to put the juices from the chicken into the gravy. I'm going to warm that back up in the oven just so it's hot for when we serve. Chicken's coming out. We're getting close to plating, guys, all right? All right, guys, now, because we added some of the marinade to the chicken jus earlier, we're going to have little pieces inside. So what we want to do is get rid of those, okay? Okay, I'm going to take him now. I'm just very gently pour him into here, just to get those impurities out. Now we're going to plate. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum. All right, guys, plating time. So I've got a bit of this. I'm going to teach you how to make this, but this is called amber. Basically a pickled mango spice. Mangoes are very popular in Jamaica. Now we'll take some of our gnocchi. And now the chicken. I'm going to take this bad boy and slice them straight down the middle. Just like that, okay? So it looks nice and juicy. The chicken's cooked well. Little touch of cilantro here and there. Now we've got the jus there. That's it. Enjoy.